Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to talk about a Nintendo Switch 2 leak list that was absolutely huge, and it's even bigger now because a lot of the stuff on that list is coming true, so it makes you wonder, okay, what else is on this list and what else could come true? So over on Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit, there's a post that says YouTube comment posted Nintendo leaks that lines up with Nate the Hate's latest podcast hours before it went up. Also mentions new Wario Land and Super Metroid Remake. Now you guys know that sounds very familiar, Super Metroid Remake, but let's read into this post first and then we'll get to that part. A YouTube comment screenshot, and there is a screenshot, I'll post it on the video right now, was posted by the username at Mallow932 on this video by Nintendo Forecast hours before Nate the Hate's podcast. The comment says it was posted 1 day ago, and Nate the Hate's podcast says 14 hours ago at the time of this writing about Nintendo's 2026 that lines up pretty well with Nate the Hate's latest podcast. Now, as you guys know, on that podcast, he did drop a lot of different Nintendo Switch 2 games, like the new Star Fox game, the Zelda remake, and all of that great stuff. So that already in and of itself is a pretty positive sign that this leak list might actually be true, but let's continue. So the first one on this list from the comment says new classic Star Fox releasing in June. Now keep in mind, this was before Nate the Hate's podcast, and on Nate the Hate he did say Star Fox did exist. So that was 100% correct on both of their parts. The new Star Fox game was released on June 25th, 2026. The next one was new Switch sports title, which also was in Nate the Hate's video, and that does line up with the video and also Nintendo's own words, because they did announce that that's going to be coming on October 4th, a new Switch sports title. So again, another true post, and also just a reminder, this was before Nate the Hate's video. The next one is very interesting and should get a lot of people excited. 3D Mario 2027. Now I do have my own thoughts on when this could actually drop, the reveal, and all of that great stuff, because you look back at past Mario games, there is some sort of a pattern on when things can release. I will be doing a video on that. If you guys are interested in that, make sure you guys are subscribed. But that is the first one that has not appeared yet, and Nintendo hasn't really said anything on a new 3D Mario. I'm expecting more than likely the next Mario Odyssey game, potentially Mario Odyssey 2, or maybe even if a lot of people are getting lucky, which I mean, we got the Ocarina of Time remake, we also got a Star Fox remake, Star Fox was in the movies, we got a Zelda movie. I mean, as Nintendo fans, we're getting pretty lucky, so my bet is it's going to be something that they know fans really want, and that could be Mario Odyssey 2, yes, but that also might actually be a specific Mario game that a lot of people want, Mario Galaxy 3. Now, interestingly enough, the post says the commenter also provided info that Nate didn't mention in his podcast, because remember, he did mention the 2027 Mario game. So the first one is very interesting because we have seen some things on that. Super Metroid Remake saying it's close. Now, if you guys have been subscribed to this channel, or basically any other Nintendo channel, you guys know that we did get a rating for Metroid Ravanous, and it has been reported, and also, by the way, it was removed, so more than likely, this is going to be announced very soon. So aside from 3 of these games on this list already happening, and one of them already being mentioned by someone who did correctly leak multiple games on this list, this is just another one that might prove that this list is true. Now, on the list, they do say Super Metroid and not Metroid Ravenous, but there is supposed to be another Metroid surprise, according to Andy Robinson from VGC. He says more than one of these are coming, I'm told, we-eating Metroid fans. So that might more than likely be this Super Metroid game. Of course, the next one is something that a lot of people do want. It is a new Wario Land, and this is possibly in 2027. That's pretty interesting that he says possibly 2027, because 2027 is supposedly supposed to have the new 3D Mario game according to this list, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ones as well, things that we don't even know about. Things like another new Star Fox game. Star Fox is a pretty interesting thing right now because they are pushing Star Fox pretty heavily. He was in the Mario movie. We got a Star Fox remake. I'm sure those sales for Star Fox 64 remake gave Nintendo a pretty interesting look into how much people want Star Fox coming back. And if we do get a Star Fox adventure, I feel like that would be an interesting choice. I'd be curious if it's going to be a mixture of Star Fox Adventure from the GameCube and maybe mix it up with some Star Fox 64 gameplay. Now, according to him, he says it's not releasing in 2027, and he doesn't really say much after that. Now, interestingly enough, there have been actual updates on this, aside from the stuff that initially dropped about 4 months ago. So the first update says, as pointed out by underscore, or not underscore, u/Pika Phantom underscore, the user left a comment 6 days ago on this video that mentions everything above except the 3D Mario. The second update says a user on Family Boards pointed out that an Italian YouTuber named Poro Michelle posted a video about an alleged DM they received on March 21st, 6 days before Nate's podcast, from an anonymous, butcher that word, user on Instagram that also lines up with Nate and also the YouTuber's comment info. 2 Star Fox games, 1 classic, the other adventure, 3D Mario 2027, something Switch Sports related releasing in summer, Duskbloods near the end of 2026. Now, Duskbloods hasn't got a release date just yet. We know it's releasing in 2026, we just don't know when, so that actually might be somewhere around maybe December, just in time for Christmas. That is near the end of 2027. We also know that GTA 6 is going to be releasing in the holiday season as well, so they probably want to avoid that, so I'm guessing maybe early December. Here's a pretty interesting one. Mario Kart DLC postponed to 2027. We know that Nintendo hasn't really done much with Mario Kart, and I feel like they could do some pretty significant things considering that they do have an open world to expand upon. I personally would like them to fill out the open world with maybe some battle mechanics, maybe things that you can collect, maybe some leveling up, maybe different power-ups, I don't know, something just to make the open world more interesting. And of course, new worlds to explore, maps. I think it would be pretty cool if they, I don't even know how they would do this, but somehow incorporate Mario Galaxy into the Mario Kart world, and instead of having like new levels or something, it would actually be like whole new worlds to explore. Now here's an interesting detail, because remember, there are other insiders saying this about the Super Metroid Remake. They say Super Metroid Remake will have a pixel art style. If you guys remember, recently another insider, Nash Weedle, did come out and talk about things like that, and that it will have a pixel art style. So this is even lining up with stuff that other insiders are saying. They also say Mercury Steam is indeed working on Metroid 6, but it will not be out in 2026. Now, of course, that points towards something that we have seen and we mentioned in this video. Metroid Ravanous. That's probably going to be Mercury Steam. Those are the devs behind Metroid Dread, which sold really well and a lot of people enjoyed it. Now here's another interesting thing. Ocarina of Time Remake will not be based on the 3DS version. This actually does line up with the one-to-one remake that we got for the description that accidentally leaked out by Nintendo. I think they accidentally put it up or left it in there or something like that, but you guys remember the stuff we covered on that, but that does line up with that as well. A lot of this is lining up with the stuff in the past, which I find very interesting. Now, there is an update 3. It says, thanks to u/AlphaSSB for noticing this. The original comment, Mallow932, display name on their YouTube channel is Michelle, which is similar to Poro Michelle, the Italian YouTuber mentioned above. Possibly a coincidence, but very interesting nonetheless. So some of the stuff that just hasn't been confirmed yet, at least when it comes to concrete evidence from Nintendo themselves, is the Super Metroid Remake, and that is supposed to be a pixel art style. Of course, Duskbloods near the end of 2026. We haven't got a release date yet. There's also the next 3D Mario, which would be very, very interesting. I do have some ideas on when we can see the reveal for that. It kind of lines up with what they have done in the past, especially when it comes to the release date. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed for that. But even the description of the Ocarina of Time remake, we know that it is releasing in 2026. That part is also confirmed. And keep in mind that a lot of this information is before Nate the Hate's information, and we know that his information was correct, and a lot of this is coming correct. And of course, there's also the stuff about the Super Metroid Remake, and also the Mercury Steam Metroid game, which we did see the rating, so that pretty much confirms it. I don't want to say it's real, because obviously Nintendo hasn't come out and said anything, but that is very strong evidence that it is going to be real. And then there were also 2 other things, like the Star Fox remake, that ended up being true, and we'll see on that second Star Fox game. I would absolutely love that, because I'm a big fan of Star Fox Adventures. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think about this list down in the comment section below. Do you think the other games are going to be true, or do you think they just got lucky? I kind of find it hard for myself to believe that they got a new Star Fox, Ocarina of Time, Switch Sports, and a whole bunch of other stuff that's possibly coming true just to be lucky. There's no way you can get that much right and be that lucky. I mean, if they're getting that lucky, they might want to play the lottery. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.